we left over on our voyage to Norway, where we spent some time looking around the port of Bergen. In the evening we sailed north again. The morning found us in low cloud, sailing up the Sogne Fjord for over 120 miles to visit the village of Flam at the head of the fjord. It is from here that the famous train takes you nearly 3,000 feet up the mountain. On leaving the port of Flam, our voyage continued as we were able to sit back and enjoy sailing through the various fjords. Norway Fjord, Hardanger Fjord, Eids Fjord, passing spectacular waterfalls. And enjoyable as it was not the reason for us being there. We arrived in Stavanger on a grey morning to see the entire fleet of boats competing in the tall ships race, filling the natural harbour. It was an incredible sight. So many sailing ships in one place. After going ashore, we were overwhelmed by the sight of so many masts, spars and rigging. We were lucky enough to be taking part in a trip round the bay under sail on Oosterschelde, a topsail schooner built in the Netherlands in 1918. On board, the captain has a message for us.
We're about to start a race from here, Stavanger, to Halmstad. At 12 o'clock, all these ships will, one by one, leave the quayside. I think you'll be here in the city or on board. You can see them pass. Before that, we will have a short sail to give you at least an impression how it is to be on an old sailing ship like this. Minor thing about safety: please do not jump overboard. If you have, we have the same safety procedure as you will have on the big ship. If you do hear the general alarm, 7 short blast and the long one continuously, please come on deck. That's it. We have a lower deck and we have a main deck, so it's very simple. There's more exits, but well, that's a very unlikely event. But then please report here. Here in these bags, we have life belts for all of you, and we will be handing them out in case of any emergency. But as I said, we are just close to the ship. If we do have a problem, we go alongside the big one.
Once aboard, we used the engines to manoeuvre away from the other boats, which were moored 2 and 3 abreast, to sail through the inner harbour. The tall ship race rules say that a sailing boat with a waterline of 30 feet is classed as a tall ship and may take part in the race, provided that half of the crew are aged between 15 and 25 years. So there are some small single-masted boats with a 30-foot waterline competing with massive 4-masted ships with waterline measurement of over 250 feet. The sails were then hoisted using volunteers from our group, who proved to have little experience of the strength and speed required to hoist so much canvas. The crew were always looking upwards to see that the set of the sails was right and harnessing all the available wind. Finally, the group needed the strength of a young girl from the crew to help them. Minor adjustments to the sails were being made constantly. Once the engines were stopped, it was so peaceful, just the wind and rain, except for the excited chatter of the passengers. were many different types of ships. Sailing ships are classified by the shape of their sails, the number of masts, and how they are combined together, giving rise to names such as schooners, barks, ketches, cutters, sloops, brigs, yawls, fully rigged ships, and many others. To me, they're all just sailing ships, but I can tell how many masts they have. Once ashore, we walked along the quayside, looking at the large variety of ships.
Rubbing up against one of the spars.
The crews were preparing for their sail away, with crews up the mast, checking the rigging. At 12 o'clock, the parade of over 80 ships started, as the vessels, both large and small, made their way out to sea. Part of the host port's responsibility is to arrange a festival on shore with entertainment and eateries so members of the various crews can get to know each other. Many of the local people came out to see the ships leave, and some people in their small motorboats moved in amongst the sailing ships as they left their berths in the parade of ships to sail through the islands to the outer harbour to start the race in the open sea. Each ship was proudly flying its home flag on the stern. To make the race fair, the boats are classified into different groups with different handicaps. Some of the larger ships needed the help of tugs to pull them away from the quayside before they could leave the harbour. Many of them escorted their own Norwegian bark on her way. She was the last to leave. After the ships had left Stavanger Harbour, it went very quiet. But there was one surprise still left as we passed, at a distance, the race with ships in full sail. The definition of tall ships seems to have been taken from John Masefield's poem, Sea Fever. I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea and the sky, and all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by.